This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. There's no reason to use a cheap disposable razor or pay a ridiculously high price for some gimmicky, unnecessary nonsense. Make the smarter choice and join Dollar Shave Club, the key to getting a fantastic, high-quality shave at an affordable price. And right now, they're giving away a 1-month trial of any of their razors for just $1. And again, it's the Dollar Shave Club with free shipping. So here's the deal. I've been looking good. I've been, cleaning up. I like my beard. But you got to clean up the little upper side, the lower side, a little lower east side. It's all that stuff. There's no long-term commitments, no hidden fees, and you can cancel whenever you want. You can get your $1 trial at dollarshaveclub.com/kinda. That's dollarshaveclub.com/kinda. Get your shave on. That's not their actual tagline. I just feel like it should be.
Right. Never mind the fact I put on a sweatshirt. Don't worry about it.
That's the thing. Whatever. Topic 4, as always.
But the thing is, I was hot when we were doing the other topics.
Brought to you by you. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic, just like all these people did,
then I
to
went
leave your
to
questions, comments, and concerns.
And it was cold.
And we'll address them.
No, I'd like to.
Yeah, who is Jen?
Thank you for asking. Jen's my girlfriend. I don't talk about her a lot. She means the world to me.
You're really good at fake crying.
Yeah?
Like in a
I'm
way
really
that's
good
like
at real
kinda,
crying too, as
you
you've seen.
are, but that's the thing is it always, when you're real crying, there's times where I'm not sure if you're fake crying, and when you're fake crying, I'm not sure if you're real crying.
Gotcha.
You just keep me fucking...
You never know anymore.
Off my knocker.
That's why they call me the Viper, because Vipers cry on cue, and that's how they trick people into coming over. Is this snake hurt? And then...
Is this snake hurt? Holy shit.
I looked around the room to see if we had one of the snake pass snakes in here that Kev could toss my way, and I was going to send Kev a telepathic link to toss me it, but he never did. But I didn't see the snake, so that's why I didn't do it.
Send the link.
I know, I didn't do it.
So before, I got a question.
Bad.
I got an audience question.
Sure.
Snake Pass.
Yeah.
Is it the business?
Yeah, it's cool. Real cool. We have a Let's Play.
Are we putting it up ever?
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, Kevin.
I have not.
It's been a week. And so it's kind of like, let's just let everything breathe. People want to be mean to us. Go ahead. We got it. We can take it. I don't feel like letting people be mean to our guests. And so I feel bad of like, hey, Snake Pass is a great game. Here's Let's Play. I'm mad about Colin. I'm like, well, I understand that, but can we talk? Oh, you just want to keep talking about that? Okay, well, that's fine. Again, as we've said a million times in the morning show.
Feel your feelings.
Everybody vent. Everybody feel your feelings. That's fine. But yeah, I'm not putting out. We have a ton of awesome Let's Plays from GDC that I want to put out. They're all timeless, so it doesn't matter. But yeah. Snake Pass, great.
Okay.
Snake Pass, really cool.
I'm excited about it. It was fun watching you guys play at PAX East.
Yeah, no, and the Let's Play is great too, and that was the thing we drank during it because that was even better. But that's the kind of game that it reminds me of, and that's that's an interesting game of. I think I'm gonna play Snake Pass on the Switch because I can play it anywhere. But then once I know it, go play it on the PlayStation to get my platinum. You know what I mean? Because then I'll be an expert. I have all the things about it. But it's one of the easy ones you always say, right? Easy to pick up, difficult to master.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's cool to actually have that momentum of being a snake and how do we work. Yeah, you like that?
I do.
If memory serves, Seb is coming through next week, and his story is super fascinating because he works over at Sumo Digital. Mm-hmm. They made Big Planet 3. Seb and Dino, who's in the Let's Play, you'll eventually see, both of them got hired at Sumo because they were so great at creating Little Big Planet levels. So we're going to have Seb come in for a topic to talk about, sure, how he made Snake Pass, but more importantly, how he went from being
now he's here.
Exactly. How he went from just being a player.
His way up.
All right. You know what? Get it all out of your system now. If you embarrass me in front of this man, he was a teacher before this.
Was he? Mm-hmm. And then he switched it up.
Nice. That was a good one.
First question comes from Joshua Steele. He says, where does Pokemon need to go as a franchise? Move on from mobile and focus on Switch? Well, here's the thing. When you say mobile, I'm assuming you
Pokemon
just mean...
Go.
I think
he means DS games.
I think he means DS.
Okay.
So it's like... this is a tough question to answer.
Sure.
I think that Pokemon needs to keep going on actual mobile. The Pokemon Go, obviously that's a success. If they can find a way to get a Pokemon game in the style of Super Mario Run or Fire Emblem Heroes, where it's like, all right, we're going to take this franchise and mobilize it in a way that is of a Nintendo quality, but it's dumbed down for mobile controls. Cool. That'll be great. Grow the franchise that way. That's awesome. In terms of what to do next with the franchise, for years, people have talked about, I want the MMO and whatever. And it's like, yeah, and that could be really cool. I don't think Nintendo would do it, and I don't think they would do it right.
Right.
So that is
when you think online infrastructure, you don't think of Nintendo.
Exactly. some type of persistent world where you can play it offline, and it does have a lot of stuff, and you keep adding on expansions, kind of like GTA 5 online does. I think that could work in a really cool way. But I think right now,
But even that, do you think that's a possibility that they'd ever do?
I don't know. I mean,
here's my thing as an outsider from
Yeah.
Pokemon, right? Because I played, what was it, Soul Silver? Well, on
Yeah,
the DS
Soul
one
Silver.
with the pedometer we all had at IGN. I played that for a little bit. Didn't
The
beat
best.
it. It was fun. And I played Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I see from as an outsider looking at the Pokemon franchise and their handheld versions is that Pokemon is comfort food. Pokemon is, I mean, you want to give EA shit for Madden. You want to give Activision shit for Call of Duty. Pokemon is even more an affront to what you accuse them of. Pokemon is cool. Now they're tropical Pokemon. You know what I mean? You're still just running around catching them, and it's just we changed a little bit, but that's what it is. It doesn't seem like there's. I don't, and I'm just again casual fan or casual observer. There's not these giant leaps, and so for them to go and be like, here's this cash cow. This thing that makes $1 million all the time. This thing that I think speaks to my point of what Nintendo is good at of we make toys. They make a toy. It's Pokemon. You know what it is. You're going to be excited for it. You're not going to be excited for it. Why would they fuck with that and invest millions of dollars into making an MMO, into making a persistent world, into making anything outside of what's the proven track seller that people want and continue to buy?
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a lot of interesting points. I think that when you look at Pokemon as a franchise overall, it's different from what you're saying about the EA's type of stuff because it's not annualized.
Sure.
Like there is years between each one. And yeah, the formula is always the same. And that's the problem that even I have with it. But I feel like and again, I am a huge Pokemon fan. Having said that, I am not a hardcore Pokemon fan. I couldn't tell you all the differences between with all the latest gens and all that. But when it comes down to it, like I had a really good time with Sun and Moon because it was way different than what I expected in terms of story progression, and there wasn't gyms, and they did a lot of stuff where it wasn't what I expected, which was the more kind of EA style where it's like, hey, it's just with different monsters.
We reskin stuff.
Yeah, like ironically to me, it's the Aloha version. It was the first time where I was like, oh no, the Aloha shit is actually just the location's different, but the entire thrust of the game is different because of that.
Okay.
You're still catching Pokemon,
Sure.
whatever. Having said that, I still want more. But you're right. Like these games, every time they come out, they sell millions and millions of copies each. When you combine them both, because they are essentially the same game, that they're going to track on the NPD forever.
Yeah.
You know, for the entire console's life cycle. So we're in a weird place now because traditionally with Pokemon, you get the two versions, and then within 2 years you get the third version. A couple times we've seen little change ups with that, where like with Black and White, there was Black and White 2 instead of gray or whatever, and it's probably because gray is a shitty color.
Whoa.
But then we also see the remakes that have started. We got the remakes of Red and Blue, then we got the remakes of Gold and Silver, then we got the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire.
Sure.
We're at a place now, it's like, what are they gonna do next?
I mean, I would love to see them
back?
blow the top off and
Me
do
too.
something different, but I just don't know if that's what they're actually thinking about doing. Because for me, it's the same thing of if they're selling the way this is the Ubisoft thing of like, we're going to keep making an Assassin's Creed every year until you stop buying them. And then they saw the dips and they're like, all right, we're going to take our foot off the gas. And it's the same way as I sit here and I'm always like, man, why doesn't 2K take the WWE game and blow it up and do it from the ground? Because they sell fine. This is their projected number and they must be hitting it or clearing it every year. So what does it matter?
And I think the other thing too is the Pokemon games are still great. Like it's not like there's been some that aren't as good as the others.
Too much water.
But they're well, that was great. It's a remake of Ruby and Sapphire. Yeah. But the thing is, with them now, we're in a weird place where, all right, are we really going to get a remake of Diamond and Pearl? Those are games that came out on the DS. I don't know that we need that necessarily.
Yeah.
Like Ruby and Sapphire, at least those were Game Boy Advance games. So we're starting to get to a point. It's like, all right, cool. Is this even necessary? Then on the other side of it, of the third game, it's like, okay, we got Sun and Moon last November. These are new games still. So the rumors of Pokemon Stars, very interesting to me. What happens with that? Does it go on 3DS and Switch, or is it a Switch exclusive? I don't even know. It's we're kind of stuck in between gens, both with the 3DS as a system and with Pokemon as a franchise, where Pokemon Stars is going to be huge for the Switch. I can imagine that they're going to put it out and it's going to be on both consoles if I had to bet. because why wouldn't they put it on the 3DS as well and sell millions of copies, right? But I think this would be the last time we see that happen. Then the next Pokemon game, which will probably take a couple years to come out, probably I would guess within the next 2 years would be announced. I don't know what that's going to be. Is it going to be, all right, this is Switch from the ground up? Or is it going to be, here's another 3DS game?
Yeah.
Or a game that can be on both? Or can both kind of live together? Can there be two Pokemon franchises in the same way that there's 2D and 3D Mario games? Will we see a world where there still is the smaller Pokemon adventure that we think of as the handheld games where you go through the 8 gyms and the Elite Four, and that still exists, but then the Switch does try something different, makes it a bit more of an RPG, like a console RPG, what you think of, and give it the Breath of the Wild treatment in the sense of we're going to blow up this franchise and try something different with it, even though people love Zelda. You know, and I can see them kind of doing both. And I fully expect that they're going to release smaller Zelda games that are not Breath of the Wild, that are more similar to Link Between
Spirit
Worlds.
Tracks and stuff like that.
Where it's like even more like 2D style things. And I think that the Switch is uniquely positioned to be able to, hopefully, once the 3DS is done, have both of those experiences and have them both be seen at the same level where it's not, oh, this is better than that. It's just, oh shit, these are both good.
Okay.
So I don't know. Pokemon has a lot to do to prove it to me that it can do the thing that we all wanted to, which is a proper console RPG. Like I think the MMO is being a little too wishful thinking. I think a proper RPG they're capable of, and we're just getting closer and closer. Even Sun and Moon, it's like, all right, they're 3D.
Yeah.
Like, they feel a bit more like PlayStation 3D games, but PS1.
I know. I understood what you meant.
But we got Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD on the GameCube, and those were RPGs. They just weren't what we wanted because it wasn't just copy and paste of here's the gym battles and all this stuff. So they're in a bad place from I got an opinion standpoint. They're in a great place from sales and the people that play the game standpoint.
Here's a question for you. This is switching tracks kind of, but it's similar of Nintendo franchise and what's going to happen now that the Switch is here. I know everybody calls for it all the time. You assume there's a Metroid game in development that's coming for the Switch, and it's going to be what everybody wants, and da-da-da. When you say that, and when you think about a Metroid game coming to the Switch, what perspective are you thinking it's going to be? Do you think, because I think a Metroid Prime would look awesome on this.
Well, so again, you're bringing up another point where it's like Nintendo franchises have been around for so long and have seen so many different kind of evolutions and like just reformat periods where different things exist, and Metroid has never sold well traditionally. So it's like it sells good, but like not astronomically. That's why it's
not pushing, bearing the needle and all that stuff.
I honestly think the easy answer is Metroid Prime. I think that that is what people want, even though people want a 2D Metroid game. Like I want a fusion sequel, a Super Metroid style game, like that. Give it to some developer that really cares about making that shit look good. I mean, yeah, exactly. But like something like that, where it's, I mean, even retro, honestly, like people would fucking go just ballistic if retro came out. I was like, we're making Metroid, but it's 2D. But they did such a good job with Donkey Kong Country Returns and especially Tropical Freeze that I'm like, I trust them to do a 2D Metroid game. They obviously know Metroid. They did Prime. I worry that if Prime doesn't have something extra, I don't know that I need a Prime 4. We got Prime 2, which was great, but it's not Prime. Prime is amazing. Prime is a masterpiece. Prime 2 was great. Prime 3 was like, all right, it's just more.
Here's an embarrassing question from the Sega kid who has no lineage to this. Are all the Metroid games in the same timeline? Like, don't get me wrong, I know Metroid, Super Metroid, Prime, and then Other M, like that's where it gets. I mean, I know Other M was because it had the creepy trailer of like, I saw the baby Metroid and it loved me.
They're all in the same thing. I mean, they're just like the weird spin-off
I'm sure that exactly.
I don't know about Metroid Prime Hunters and Federation Force and all that. I'm sure that somehow they're related, but in terms of the canon, there's direct lineage with all of them. So I feel like they could blow it up, but they wouldn't. There's not really a need. Like it's not like the canon is that important in Metroid, and it's more about the experience that you have. But
turn into a little ball.
I don't know, a Metroid that functions more like I want to stop just always being like, do what Breath of the Wild did, because it's like that's just getting expectations high. But I mean, these franchises kind of need it. Like Nintendo has been doing the same thing for so long with
do you think we'll see that? Because I think that's the thing. Zelda is a lot like Mario, where, oh, great, another Mario game. No one ever really says that, but oh, great, another Mario game. But Mario games are distinctly different as you go. You know what I mean? 64 is not Super Mario World, is not Sunshine, is not
3D
Galaxy. Exactly. And so even Zelda, where it's like, with the exception of Majora's Mask, right? It's not, Ocarina of Time is not, and the story is, and the ideas, but the gameplay and the mechanics, and I'm a dog now, and now I'm fucking.
I would argue though that,
Wind Waker,
that the Mario games are more diverse than the Zelda games.
I don't think that's an argument. I agree with you 1,000%.
I think that you can kind of really lump Mario into now very distinct categories, which is 2D games, 3D open world games, which include 64 Sunshine, then the 3D obstacle course platformer games that are like Crash Bandicoot, so the 3D World, 3D Land, and Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are somewhere in between those two things, because a lot of levels are pretty big and open, but at the end of the day, they're still bite-sized, small, linear things, so they're similar to 3D World. With Zelda, visually, Wind Waker looks very different than Ocarina.
Sure.
But from a gameplay perspective and from a design standpoint, they're very similar games.
You're right. I
Even
forgot
Twilight Princess.
and I forgot that in Ocarina I was on the boat all the time. Mic drop. See you later.
You're right. You're fucking right. But Zelda has the kind of the trope of usually there's two different worlds, whether it's different times or like Dark World, Light World, or this or that.
Okay.
Or, So, and then Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, I think, also fall into that. Where it gets interesting is then there's the 2D Zelda games, like the top-down Zelda games. And even those kind of have then there's the touch side with Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. But I think that Link Between Worlds did to 2D Zelda games what Breath of the Wild did for the 3D Zelda games, to a lesser extent. But being able to kind of buy your weapons whenever you want, and it opens up the world, you can kind of tackle it how you want to from a top-down perspective. I think that could be really interesting for a Metroid game as well. Kind of just drop that bomb where it's like, what if you're playing Metroid and it's not you start off with all your powers, then you immediately lose them all, then you need to go back and gain them all back. It's like, no, what if you had them?
You were just Samus from the get-go.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's something similar to Breath of the Wild, where it's like you have all the tools, it's just a matter of figuring out how to use them together. But again, I kind of want to see that in a 2D world more than a 3D world. But I'll be fucking stoked if I get a Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
But I want a 2D Metro game even more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I tell you how excited I am for the Switch? Like, as we talk about all this shit, and it's just even the thing of, and this is again just me being, a biased asshole. If they were just to, and I know that this happened, but I mean, put all the primes together again and put them out on the Switch. You know what I mean? And like make it through eShop if that's actually one of the things they're pushing for, and do all that crap. Because like I didn't want to play it on Wii U, and also there's too many games on Wii. But now that this thing is with me all the time, I'd love to play that stuff.
Yep.
Because I remember, man, when Metroid Prime dropped, I remember sitting in the living room in college and watching Kyle Hayes, my roommate, one of my best friends in the whole world, play through it nonstop. You know what I mean?
Oh, Metroid fucking Prime. Metroid Prime's one of those games. And that's why like Prime 2, it was good. And then 3 was a bit more actiony. Like that's usually the way that these things go. But man, Prime was such a special game.
We made it through one question. I apologize.
We did make it. That's fine. That's totally fine.
I guess two, actually.
I'm gonna wrap it on just one more. Okay. This one, I want your
We're having
thoughts
good
on this.
conversations.
Yeah. Joe Frantic. What do you guys think about Rhyme being $10 more on the Switch than its competitors? Will this start a trend? It's also coming out later on the Switch.
I think that's some bullshit.
It is.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I haven't heard any. Nobody got a quote on this? Let me Google it around. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Beep, boop, 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 boop.
But no, I mean, Rhyme, first off, looks great. I was really surprised because, of course, Rhyme was that game. Oh, Tequila Works. It's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. Then PlayStation apparently came in one day and was like, took the dev kits, like, this game sucks. And then I saw it at Day of the Devs and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I checked in at PAX East. I ran over to Surprise Apology, who was playing it. And I was like, what do you think of it? He's like, oh, it's good. It's a little floaty here or there, but like, this is enjoyable so far. And it looks like a weird Eco meets Witness meets a bit of if it's already Eco, it already feels like Last Guardian, but you know what I mean, of like you're in that same vein of like exploring this beautiful, colorful world or whatever. So hold on, Rhyme. You fill time. Talk
Rhyme
about
Switch.
Rhyme Switch.
Yeah, I'm loving my Switch too. It's been fantastic. Yeah,
Get a Switch, man.
You should
buy Tim's.
What do you mean by Tim's?
There's another one.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
It's in my house right now. I keep forgetting to bring it.
Huh.
Hmm.
Huh.
Oh, cartridge is what people are complaining about?
There's no way.
Well, this is from BGR, which I've
Oh
never heard
no,
of.
it's
No
that
offense.
problem again. The expensive cartridges.
No, but these are carts. These are cheap.
Yeah, here
It's
we go.
not a problem.
Forbes. The cost of Nintendo Switch cartridges could hurt third-party support. This is by Paul Tassi. This week, Eurogamer has published an interesting piece about why a few games are just flat out more expensive on the Switch than they are elsewhere. They look at a pair of indie games, Rhyme and Puyo Puyo Tetris, which cost £10 more, or maybe that's pounds, more than the same versions of the game on other platforms. What they found is the cost of manufacturing Switch cartridges increased the cost for these developers, particularly indie games with a smaller run, and that they can't make their digital versions cheaper because Nintendo demands price parity between its physical and digital media in a bid not to upset brick and mortar mom and grop shops. I added the mom and grop. So even with no increase in production cost for digital, both versions of Rhyme cost $40 on the Switch, or £40, as opposed to £30 elsewhere. Huh.
Something about that seems off and weird to me.
That does, I mean, it sucks. But you
Yeah.
figure that it makes sense, right?
It does.
Because you figure, let's talk about means of production, right? That it's like, it's so many people have the ability to make a disc, so it's cheaper. There's different places to go to, depending on who you work with, different places to go to and do it. Whereas with cartridges, there must be few people manufacturing these things.
Yeah, and I mean, this seems like something that would affect indie games that are
most,
trying
yeah.
to go physical
Yeah.
the most. But it's just like, well, at that point, don't go physical then.
Do they have a choice, or is that not a choice?
I mean,
Is Nintendo's policy everything's everywhere, or is
No,
it okay?
definitely not.
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Sorry.
no. So that's like, all right, well, then don't go physical. Something about this, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Like,
Well, the thing
'cause
about
that's
it,
like
though, too-
Bomberman R. It's like, okay, then you shouldn't have went physical if it was going to bump the price up that much.
Yeah, I hear you, but the thing would be that with this, I don't know. Let me check into who. Do you know who's publishing Rhyme? We know who's
No.
developing it. I mean, obviously Tequila Works. Rhyme video game. I said Cydio game, but Google will fix it. Don't worry
And
about
they
it.
know
ladies
what's
and
up.
gentlemen.
They're like, do you
Wikipedia.
mean Trine? It's like, no, I mean Rhyme.
Publisher's Gray Boot and 6 foot, or Gray Box and 6 foot, which I've never heard of. I think it comes down to what the publishers then need to do in terms of like, if you're a publisher and you've negotiated to get spots on GameStop shelves, you already have X number of slots. Why not give it to this platform and up and coming thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as easy as that in terms of, and not to mention that games do still sell well on shelves when people
Yeah,
see
well,
them and buy
exactly,
them.
and especially now on the Switch, where it's like the answer of why Bomberman was there is because people wanted something else to buy that wasn't just Zelda, so they had that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that this is not going to be a problem in the
For
future.
long.
For
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that once more Switches get into people's houses and the devs don't need to worry so much about this, like this isn't going to affect AAA games. Like they're not going to cost more, or even
Sure.
A games. Or
Yeah,
even,
yeah.
Like I don't think it's going to affect third parties. I think it's going to affect indies.
Yeah.
So, and most indies are seen as downloadable titles anyway.
Well, and that's the whole thing is like if you're truly, and I'm not insulting anybody, if you're truly an indie, you might not be working with a publisher. You're doing it all on your own. So yeah, you are digital only. So you don't have to worry about this. This is where like limited run games comes in for Vita stuff or PlayStation
Yes,
stuff.
exactly. I imagine that will start happening a lot with the Switch as well.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Until next time, I love you.
Come watch me play Mass Effect this week.
Every Monday. Why do I keep saying every weekday? 9 a.m.
We say every Monday, and that's wrong. It's every weekday. Yeah, it's 9 a.m. till
you
the
know
morning
why?
show starts.
You know why I'm fucking it up?
Switch.
Is the alliteration. I was thinking Mass Effect Mondays, but you were saying Mass Effect mornings.
Mass Effect mornings.
So that got in my head. I was thinking the M's.
Man, I tell you what, clown shoes around here.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you like games content, make sure you click here to subscribe to Kind of Funny Games. And you like movies and comic books and food and other lifestyle stuff, you should click right here. Subscribe to Kind of Funny, our other channel. It's fantastic. And if you want to give us money, click here or here.